Season 7, Episode 32, number 297 of the Decoded Podcast. How's it going, Chris?
It's going well. Going well. Hey, can I ask you something quick off the hop?
Yep.
Did you see my Insta? You saw my Insta post yesterday, eh?
The cool one of it's a headshot.
My thought leader.
Yeah, I saw it, and I have to tell you, bro, I've kind of, don't take this the wrong way, I've kind of become numb to your sequence Instagram posts because
Great.
it's because for me, it's, you're doing your thing. Like
Mhm.
So I see them, like I saw the headshot, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then just kept scrolling because
Mhm.
for me, it's old hat. You're in a
Mhm.
show called Sequence. I call it Back to the Future,
Mhm.
and you're preparing, so you're sharing about it,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping that catches other eyes.
Mhm.
That to them, it's not old hat. Like to me, if I don't see you posting about Sequence, I probably wonder what's going on.
Mhm.
So I don't, that's not a slight, it's not an insult. It's just I saw it, but I didn't go deep because I knew exactly what it was for. Because I kind of now in my mind have, you've been posting a similar genre of art, I'm gonna call it,
Mhm.
for Sequence. Uh, that's so when I saw it, I'm like, Sequence, Chris Clough, headshot, nice. And then next,
Yeah, I have really enjoyed sort of doing this ad hoc promotional campaign for the show. And the great thing is that I've just been free to explore it. I'm not being paid and by anything. I'm just messing around with my Canva account and messing around with my Insta tools and trying to figure out a way just to keep it's like I would say it's akin to journaling. I'm grabbing little snippets and bites from the play or just derivative stuff that is kind of connected with the play. And that one last night, I really it kind of it tickled me a little bit only um because it's kind of cheeky. It's a little bit more cheeky than the last ones that I put up because I actually put a photo of myself in it. And the staging of it was it was very intentional. Like that shot, the photo in there, um I had to there was a very specific look that I wanted to it. I wanted it to be a little grainy, a little kind of like reflective looking. And I was sort of kind of wandering around my house. Just I had a little chunk of time. I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do with this next one because I want to put together some promotional, almost look like headshots for each of the characters. But so that thing that I put up on Insta is very much a part of what my character is. So my character in the play has just written a book called Change Your Luck. So I put together. I thought, you know what? I need to put together the press junket poster for that, so that's why it's, a sequential evening with Theo, the name of my character. And the special guests are the other three characters in the play. So yeah, Cynthia, Dr. G, and Gift of God. So those are the other three characters from the play. So as I'm putting it together, I'm kind of giggling to myself. I'm like, I wonder what my cast is going to think of this. So the way that I sort of alleviate that is I actually messaged them. We have a group chat on Facebook on Messenger. So I dropped it into there. I'm like, look, you three, send me a headshot in character. And I said, I'll put together a promotional Insta piece for you as well. Often plays will do that. Now, sometimes they do it. I like it better where I like the ones that are a little bit more cheeky. Like I like it where you kind of do something that's makes people kind of go, what the hell? Like, and it forces them to it forces them to the edge of a decision. Am I going to go see this show or am I just going to say, screw it? I'm just going to like consume. I'm just going to consume. Or do I actually go to the show to see how this plays out? Because that thing that I put up last night and many of the pieces, you can't unlock them completely unless you go see the show. You can't. Or read the play. You can go and buy and read the play. I guess if you really wanted to, you could buy the play and read it, and that'd be cheaper than buying a ticket. Straight up, it would be. But I would argue it's not as fun, like to sit and just read it cold. So that's been my whole kind of intent here. I actually was bold. I was talking to a producer, a play producer, and I said to them directly, "This could be something that I may pursue as I sort of explore more photography. I might, explore a little bit of video, and also that kind of social media promotion. What could that look like?" And funny enough, they said, "Oh, that's curious." They said, "Would you be looking for this theater company?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet. As I get closer to retirement, I'll need something for my brain to chew on." They sent me their next year's um, season, and they said, "I'd be curious to see what you might do with this." Like, so yeah, again, and you and I have talked about this in the past as far as, um, I love how you started this by talking about that's just Clough doing his thing. That's what I need for the people close to me to see, that I'm just consistent, that I'm doing a thing that kind of makes sense. I'm okay if it turns into wallpaper. I mean, posting stuff on social media, that's basically, it's digital wallpaper, right? Like you, I guess you can take the time to set up, you know, half an hour a day to review your social media posts and just kind of like sit there and enjoy the content you've created. But for me, the process of trying to create better content has been really, really, or more interesting, or more detailed, or more diverse, or more detailed content. I've really enjoyed that process with this. And I don't think I've ever, somebody said to me like, "Holy crap, like you're putting a lot of effort in." I'm like, "Well, I think I'm just inspired, and effort comes along. I think if you're inspired, I think effort comes along for the ride. Like you're just willing to kind of do it." Um, I've also, for this play, so the Change Your Luck, some of those posts are actually the chapters that I've written for that, this fake book that doesn't exist, right? But the book that I'm selling in the play. And I have the last chapter that I still am kind of editing and playing around with. So I have one more chapter. So I wrote 4 chapters of this book. And I mean, just ironically, not ironically, I decided that there'd be 23 chapters just because it has to do with DNA strands, right? Your chromosomal count. So yeah, I like that you look at it as wallpaper,
Nice.
um, because that, my word, not yours, my word, not yours. But I do like it that you see it as that, because part of it is, what I know is that if you do stop and have a look at it, you'll kind of go, okay, okay, and you would be able to give me good feedback as well, because that's what I was just going to come back to start with. Like, what did it look, besides the fact it looked like Clough? Did it look like a thing, that Clough did? Did it look like a thing that should be put up for like a promotional kind of piece? Did it have that vibe to it? And if it did, even if it had that, and even if it was kind of cheeky and sarcastic, did I hit the mark with the piece, would you say?
100%. So I
Okay, good.
I have it loaded here. It's making me laugh even more because I've talked to you about your character,
Hmm.
Theo,
Hmm.
and my vibe is that Theo's a little bit of a slimy dude.
Hmm.
And so looking
Yeah.
looking at this photo, the pose and everything about it, I'm
Total poser.
a total poser. And based on what you've told me, like this guy, Theo, there's one of him in every school. So if we were to attach it to teaching, there's one of him in every staff, and
Yeah.
it's the guy that walks around, says what he wants, acts how he wants, laughs at his own jokes, and doesn't know nobody
Mm-hmm.
else is laughing with him.
Yeah.
People will talk to Theo because it's the polite thing to do, but they don't
Hmm.
really want to go out on a Friday night and hang out with Theo.
Hmm.
And he's the guy where everybody wonders, like, why isn't the principal talking to him to stop doing that? But the principal won't, because even the principal knows Theo's not going to get it. I could bring Theo in and say, listen, you got to pull back on some of your dirty jokes in the staff room or whatever. And he'd be like, what's wrong? It's funny. Everybody laughs, but nobody's laughing. Only Theo, because Theo lives in his own world. So even the
Hmm.
principal won't deal with Theo because the principal knows nothing's going to come of it unless there's discipline. And the principal's like, but Theo's harmless. even though he does things that are harmful, and everybody just looks the other way. That's kind of the vibe I get. So when I saw your post, I saw it, Change Your Luck. I know that that's connected to the show. The picture you took is stereotypically not the real Clough. So I'm like, this is for Chris's show, and go to the next thing, right? So
Hmm.
I'm glad that you said that you used the word wallpaper, because I don't see it that way, because I'm still looking at your content. I'm like, that's for the show. So
Hmm.
I didn't read any of your stuff because I know it's for the show. And if I want more information about the show, that's where to go. And I can talk to you. Just this
Yep.
morning on the on ramp, for God's sake, I had to write down what is a PhD dissertation on what you're doing right now with all your acting. Because
Hmm.
to me, it's overwhelming.
Hmm.
Even though I think we talk about it almost daily, because I know you have your rehearsals and there's lots going on, driving here, driving there, doing this,
Yeah.
get ready for that.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so yeah, I saw the image. I'm like, that's not Chris. I mean, it could. I'm not saying it can't be. If you start taking shots like this all the time, then that's what Chris becomes, right? But
It is true. It is true. It is true. I appreciate the distance that you identified. I think that in some ways is the hallmark of creating a character, whether it's for, film or for theater, or TV, I guess. So I like that there's that distance there, and you're not too far off the mark for how I've sort of grown this character. Um, he's I guess he's described in the play as a like just a kind of a creepy father figure kind of a character. So and has really I'll say has really uh benefited from a bit of that schmooze factor and kind of a bit of a player, but not but in addition to that, the backstory for Theo, though it doesn't explain, or it doesn't justify, the backstory doesn't justify how he ends up, let's say, as this kind of schmoozy, slimy guy. Um, as far as a trope goes, it makes sense. Like you kind of go, oh, okay, we kind of see how this happened in his past and how that kind of like derailed his life. And then he sort of started making a different, like it created a parallel version of him.
mhm.
He starts doing other things, acting in a different way. Because later in the play, it does I do get a reveal in there as to what changed me, and what kind of motivated me to write the book, Change Your Luck. So I do. There is a sad backstory for Theo, let's say.
Oh,
So yeah.
does that come out in the show?
Hmm. It
Okay.
does. Yeah, it comes out. Yeah, it is. It is answered. It is answered. Now, whether or not that's enough. Now, I will say in the play, like I'm not a total lech in this, but I do say and kind of like prowl the stage a little bit, like I'm expecting to be a ladies' man. So there is that element playing out. It's fun. It's nice. I mean, relative to the last character that I played in God of Carnage, that character still there's elements of it that haunt me, and I'm like, I can't believe I did that character.
Oh,
Yeah, just as far as like just the mindset and some of the language and the way that my character had to treat other characters on stage. Like you can sort of say it's just a character, but if you're the one projecting the character, it's you doing it too. Like I can't say I didn't say terrible things to another human being on stage. Like because I said them. I don't get to sort of like offload and say, yeah, but that was the character. So I can't sort of package that completely and justify my behavior there. So, for me, that character, there's still almost things I feel like I should apologize for. You know what it's like? It was like I guess you could say is, the whole argument about like why don't hockey players get charged with assault? There's
mhm,
this assumption that, well, because it happens in a hockey rink, it's different. I
right.
would make a parallel there with theater and probably film, right? The creative arts is that because it happens on a stage or because it happens on film, it's different. But as the artist, I'll say I still carry the responsibility of having participated in that moment. And within that last play, God of Carnage, I said a lot of really terrible things to another actor. But the truth was, I'm also saying it to another person on stage. I said that out loud. And I said things that outside that theater, I would never say out loud to anyone else at all. Never. So, what I'm just circling back to is that it's refreshing to play this character, though flawed. It's a very, it's an easy feeling character to play. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Gary's with us. Good morning, Gary. Thanks for checking
Morning,
us
Gary.
out. And good
Morning.
morning. Happy day to
Happy
anybody.
June. Happy
Happy
June.
June. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Happy day, happy June to anybody who's listening in, watching. Thanks for checking us out.
Mm-hmm.
There was somewhere I wanted to go next, but I'm staring at Theo's picture here, and that's
Theo's not looking at you.
no,
Theo's
he's
looking
not.
off into his thoughts. He's lost in his thoughts.
I was gonna say because Theo is all about Theo, so he's probably. This is just all based on back and forth with
Mhm.
you on Theo,
Mhm.
which we haven't done too much. I don't know too much about the character, just a couple of points, and that is a funny picture. So let's. I want to say, are you just sitting on the couch in your house and you're like, this is going to be a great shot for? Is that, or
Well,
were you in more intentional?
so I will say entirely intentional. I was there was a very nice there was a spot in my TV room where the chair is perpendicular to a window facing our backyard. There was natural light coming in there. So I knew that even a bad photo would still be lit well, like as far as the structure, the
Mm,
composition. If I couldn't get the composition right, I knew it would still be lit well. And I will tell you, for me, composition is important, but I think the thing that frustrates me more is bad lighting in my photography. Like seeing the photo that I want to take, but not getting the lighting right and adjusting lighting. I mean, you can't fix bad composition if you don't have good subject matter. Like whenever you're taking a picture of it, if it's just shit. Like it's you can't. I guess you can AI the hell out of it and try and fix it. But that initial capture, if the composition and subject aren't good lighting doesn't necessarily help. So I find that most times I so far my my W's are more in the composition column. It's the lighting where I always fall. And I hate trying to adjust lighting after the fact. I hate it. So as I get this idea about the kind of shot that I want, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do this kind of a promotional thing. Um, I was wandering through my house and I looked over and I saw the chair there and I'm like, there's the place to do it because the chair has a high back on it. So I was able to kind of just sort of like lean on it. And then I did that one just with my iPhone. Uh, Processed it a little bit in, what is it? Something seed. I always forget the name of it. Seed, Snapseed, which is a really nice, just light photo processor, and then played around with it in Canva, and away we go.
nice.
Yeah, so it was intent. I would say every single one of mine had a very structured approach to it. None of them were accidental. I would say this one had a little bit more structure to it from concept to completion. It was very intentional, very intentional.
Hey, tell me about your stamp, the Clough approved stamp.
That was just on a whim. I
Okay.
saw that's where advertisement got me, and I'm like, you know what?
You saw one of those ads. You're like, I'm doing this.
I'll tell you the laughs from the students from me putting it on their stuff, and they all my students have kept the first one, and they asked for the page protectors, and they've put
Oh,
them in there, and they have them in their binders, and they have it like in there. I'm like, dudes, I'll give you, I can do other stamps. They're like, so six different kids, one, not two of them are just like, yeah, whatever, but six of them like, I love this, and they have it in their binder. So they open it up, and there's the Clough approved, well done, Clough approved stamp.
I like that. That's cool.
Totally on a whim, and again, just a photo. I just took the photo with my iPhone, so I like how it kind of uh it like turns it into a cartoon looking. I thought the lining on it, it's minimalist, eh? The actual just lines that are there, but it's just enough that you can still like, yeah, that's Clough. It looks like Clough. So I liked it. Yeah, totally on a whim. Way too expensive. Way too expensive. But
It's one of those things, man.
it was definitely an indulgence, and I can keep it. And even if because it comes pre-inked, like it has the ink loaded into it, but I could always just get an ink pad as well and kind of use that, like to sort of load it and then do it. So it'll be useful for forever. I was so funny side note to that. So the day that I got it, Jake came home with a math test that needed signing.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna put a stamp on it. And he's looking at it. He's like, he starts laughing. He's like, but the teacher said you have to sign it. I'm like, well, send this back to take it back with and just see what they say. And then the truth comes out that yes, and the first like 5 people that get them signed, there was some sort of a prize. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to put you out of the running, despite the fact that I think this is really funny. So on a post-it note, I signed. I said, good mark on the math test. I said, give the math test first. See if the teacher accepts it. If they're like, but your parent have to sign it, and then you just slap the post-it note on top of it afterwards. You can do it as a 1-2 step, and you'll still get your laughs.
I like that. I like that.
Simple. I'll throw a pivot. Let's see what you. I don't know if this will get a reaction out of you. Well, it's not a reaction. Just the
Maybe like the one I had yesterday from an email that we both got.
yeah. That's what I was going to ask about. I
Oh,
was actually going to ask about that because that's kind of interesting. I'll go from blast from the past. I get an inbox email, kind of just a general notification that a colleague of ours is, I guess, kind of formally retiring from a very large digital space that they've inhabited in for quite some time. Stephen Hurley is, I guess, officially in the process or officially stepping down from voice ed, stepping away from doing some retiring yet again and moving on to something else. And it was just when I got the email, I guess there's some sort of a get together virtual. I will say the one thing that I thought that was kind of strange, like an hour, that's it. This dude was changed the way we talked about education for coming up on a decade, and it's an hour Zoom. That's it. Is it? Did that? I don't know. Shouldn't there be a little more? I don't know. No, I don't know. I guess if when you retire from teaching for 30 years, they're still going to have like 7 people at that retirement party that are all retiring at the same time. So I guess the metric is accurate. And it was when it popped up in my feed, I thought it kind of it brought back some memories. It brought back some of my own beginnings in this podcasting space. The different circles that I've sort of moved through, the different people that podcasting has brought into my world and the conversations that have resulted from that. So though I'm not attending the Zoom, I guess I did appreciate the digital post-it note just to kind of stop for a second. Like, man, yeah, dude's done. I guess he's done good. He's done good. I don't know what I haven't connected with him in maybe 2 years, even maybe a year and change, maybe 2 years. Like talking to him even on the DMs, I haven't talked to him at all. So it's not a surprise because I think one of the last times you and I, maybe me, connected with him, he was talking about what the next could be and whether or not he would be. I think I even asked him directly on DMs, one of my previous iterations on Twitter. Asked him directly, like, are you leaving this and how are you going to transition out of this? And as we've mentioned on here before, he was cagey about it. I don't know why he's always so cagey. He's constantly building the mystery around the man, right? But yeah, at the time he was even, well, what do you think it should look like, Chris? I'm like, no. Are you mapping this out? Are you doing it? Only time will tell. He would just say stuff like that. feel like you're in the middle of a Dungeons and Dragons game or something. You know, but he solved the riddle to open the vault. So that's all I was prompted in. Just thoughts about that.
That's cool. Yeah, he certainly has created quite the artifact.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have much more to say. That yeah, I don't really have any. I mean, I messaged you, I messaged you yesterday, and we talked a little bit about the on ramp, and I mean, he's engaged with more schooling. He's
Mm-hmm.
It appears as though he's going to be continuing his studies, formal graduate studies, via Emmanuel College through the University of Toronto. So he's chasing something. He's going down that road, and I'm sure that's going to take up a lot of his time. Um, it'll be interesting to see if I even see who ends up taking over voice ed radio, and what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have talked that there's not much advertising there. Somebody could take it and totally. I want to use the word sell out, but I don't really mean it that way. But just start having people pay to have their stuff advertised on voice ed, and it could totally change the entire dynamic of the platform. But I don't remember the last time I went there, so it's not. I don't have a horse in this race.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting. It would be interesting to see what comes next for it, but that means I need to invest some time in it, and I don't know if I'm going to do that. So it's got to come across my feed, because I don't think I'm going to be going back there to look. But that's just how I feel right now. I don't really know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
I am I don't I mean it's when just I mean the idea of voice ed, idea of voice ed was the is it's funny. It's the just what every memory of voice ed, the biggest part of it that sort of still echoes for me is it was because of voice ed that I stopped doing chasing squirrels. Like there was an element of like I stopped because of the sort of like realization I came to out of voice ed that I don't want to do this for somebody else, and I don't want to do this for somebody else's feeds. And voice ed was a space that was important to me, important enough that I was willing to give up my content for free in order to promote their product. So no harm, no foul. This is not a complaint. It's an observation of process. And at the time, I was willing to adhere to that place, their policies, their mindset, their sort of like their ecosystem. I was willing to play in those spaces. And then I wasn't. And then when I wasn't, that's where I was like, okay, I want to do something different. And here we are. So I guess in some ways, thank you, voice ed, for being the space that I didn't want to be in. Because it showed me that there was another space that I could build for myself.
mm,
Um, that I still had, the energy and the autonomy and the interest to build content for myself. I wanted to just do it that way. And we're still discovering it, but I think we've sort of built that sweet spot quite effectively over the last well, we're coming to the end of season 7.
hmm craziness.
Yeah,
Um, I'm going to shift if that's okay with you.
do it.
So Tyler Keefe from Idaho is joining us. Good morning, boys. He says Roland wearing the Angel shirt in the morning since his Mariners won last night. Ha, with
Nice.
a wink face. So good morning, Tyler. Welcome to Decoded Podcast, Season 7, Episode 32, number 297.
Does
Let me,
Tyler sometimes post up barbecue stuff? No? Am
I've,
I don't know.
I've
Is Tyler
seen,
is
go ahead.
Tyler a gator? Is he a Floridian? Is he I don't know. What is he? No.
Tyler's
Where's
from
Tyler?
Idaho,
Idaho. Okay.
but he worked for a school called the Sherman Gators.
There. See, I knew I had some sort of memory as a tech.
Yes, like
What is that?
Jesus, we're killing this, Tyler. So jump in with a comment and tell us your. He was like a tech guy at the school, like a uh, tech integration
Tech
specialist.
integration. Yeah. So Tyler's a teacher
He
or
yes.
a technician working for a school board.
Okay, so Tyler taught grade 5 for many years.
There we
I
go.
think
That's it.
he left Sherman grade 5 to work at the district office, and he does their social media stuff now there. So in the
Hmm.
States, you can like imagine here, I'm leaving grade 5 to do social media for my district. There'd be a pay cut, and my pension would not be non-existent anymore. It doesn't work that way in the States. So, okay, this is what Tyler says, yes, but not as much as I used to. And no, I'm in Idaho. Right. Okay.
Okay.
I was fifth grade teacher, then instructional tech integration, now digital communications for the district. So,
Hmm.
and Tyler's into barbecue. I've seen him post a lot about his smoked chili, bacon chili, but I
Hmm.
don't know where Tyler might be posting barbecue stuff that you may have seen. But he'll fill us in. So while we're kind of maybe waiting for Tyler to do that, I have a story about this shirt because Tyler mentioned my Angel shirt. So it's kind of an interesting story because even when I bought this shirt, my kids were like, "Why did you get an Angel shirt?" Oh, yeah, he posts barbecue stuff on Twix, which is X, formerly known as Twitter. Twix.
Is that what we're calling it?
That's what
Sorry. Is that what you kids are calling it?
Tyler, Joe Marquez refer to it as Twix.
Wow.
I like it. It makes me hungry though every time I say the word Twix, so I try not to say it. Um, so I was on this sports website, like sports apparel and stuff, and I think I was getting some Jays gear or whatever. And I always look at the clearance section. Um, Tyler says right or left Twix. Doesn't matter to me.
Hmm.
It all goes to the
Remember
same
those? Remember
place.
the vote? There was that vote. There was that. That was
Yeah.
a thing. I remember that. I remember that marketing.
Um, so I look in the clearance section. This shirt, $2.50 Canadian. So I'm like, where else am I going to get a shirt for 250? I'm
Value
already
Village.
ordering a bunch of stuff. Well,
Yeah.
I don't go there. So you're right. I could find something like that there. I don't go there.
Next
Uh,
time I'm there, I'll see if I can get an Angels one. I'll let you know how much I paid for it.
okay, cool.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I'm not a huge Angels fan, but they're not a bad baseball team. And um, one of my mentors, David Terrio, unofficial mentor, he has no idea. He's a fan of the Angels, so I was making all these connections. So I bought the shirt. And this morning, when I came out of the shower, I needed a shirt. It called out my name, Angels. So
Nice.
there's a story about the shirt.
That works. That works. I'm always curious about. I dropped my friggin' pen. Oh, there it is. I'm always curious about because I haven't. When I was really hungry at one point back in the day to understand the sort of jurisdictions and districts of the American education system, and I was just fascinated by the diversity of that. Um, but not but and the fact that Tyler has moved from classroom sort of consultant to board level social media. Like that is fascinating to me because that would never happen in my board. Those layers are not the people that are doing our social media are not teachers.
Hmm.
they're professionals that are part of our media and communications department that are not, they're not educators. So um, it makes me curious about the that sort of tacit understanding of about what education is, how it might change if you were bringing classroom teachers up to sort of, in Tyler's case, represent a whole school district, like what that makes you lens, or if there's rules that help you to stay neutral. I'm sure there is. I mean, there's always the protection of information stuff, identity, all the FOIP, like there's stuff like all the stuff that, as far as what you can post up, I'm imagining that there's quite a few rules as far as what Tyler can and can't do. But just the mindset, to have someone that spent time in the classroom to then spend time projecting the brand back out to the board. That's a fascinating little dynamic to me.
And it's very
Um,
cool because when Tyler deals, so I communicate with Tyler often,
mhm.
and because he was a teacher, he is a teacher. It's that I love that layer because he's representing the district. He's doing digital communication for them. I think it's friggin' awesome that he understands what happens in a classroom and how things come to be in schools.
Right.
Um, uh, what's really cool though is the principal he worked for, Sherman, is now the principal who he is supervising him in this role. So that principal stopped running a school to move to the district level to keep doing principal stuff, but he's got digital communication under his belt. So even from it's kind of neat that a principal is overseeing Tyler's work. So,
See, said that does happen. Principals do go up and they're sort of like,
well,
they
he's still a
are.
principal and he's doing a like he's not
Yeah, so we have that. No, I was going to say, but a principal in our system would not be
no,
overseeing the professionals. There'd be a manager that would be sort of running them. Yeah.
right.
So
Tyler said bingo. That's made a huge difference in what I've been able to do. I'm assuming we're referring to the fact that he was a teacher, like in a classroom, and now
a
he's doing
teacher
more.
and a teacher in what I would say is a professional designation other than teaching. Like I think often all the directors except HR are now former. Hmm. Yeah, but see, for us, that's similar too. Like we do have our director, our current director, actually is a former principal, former teacher. The director before that, I don't remember. I think we've bounced back and forth between directors that have an understanding of education but corporate experience. And right now, our director is a someone that actually is homegrown, someone that came up through our own board. So that's cool. Good on you, Tyler. Nice to re-meet you. Nice to re-meet you. And I noticed when his profile pic popped up from YouTube, he's still rocking the old Gators graphic there on his laptop.
He, I'm going to speak for Tyler and say that his time at Sherman was um, a good one,
Mhm,
transformational, I'd say, with the work that he was doing there. And I remember that's kind of how I discovered Tyler. He was doing live stuff, Sherman Gator stuff, and he had the setup and he had the look, and it's it just reminds me of the extra work teachers do,
mhm,
school staff do to make things run after school and during school, all
mhm,
that fun stuff we do that in Ontario is not part of our it's not part of our contract. The extracurriculars are not, we do not have to do them, um, and yet we do, and many teachers live for that component of being a teacher, and many students and families love that teachers do that stuff.
mhm, mhm. It's true. It is true.
Did you draw anything today
I
or
did.
create anything today? I'd love to see it. Oh, that's very interesting. What can you tell us a little bit about what led you to this creation?
Nope. So we're Ah,
That's for me. That's like, yeah, it sounds. That's what Chris. There's Chris's answer.
I don't know. I think part of what I was just thinking about is kind of like the elements of
Mm,
podcasting, elements of being in a classroom. I was the sort of like the boxiness of it. There was something. So last night we went to in town. They had a night market. So
mm.
from 5 to 10, down by the splash pad. Down by the
I know
splash.
the splash pad.
The
Yeah.
splash pad in town. So down there, the splash pad's all fully splashy now, and they had a bunch of um, art vendors, and then we decided to grab a bite to eat. So we're wandering around, and it was remarkable to me the how intolerant I was of how crowded it was. I did not like it. It was so packed. I think part of it is just my day is spent packed in,
Mm,
kind of in boxes. So there was something I was coming into the pod today thinking about boxes. I'm also starting to pack up my classroom, and not the whole classroom, but I always like to I spend time sitting in that room with it being fairly empty at the tail end of the year, imagining what each of the spaces will be next year. I'm
mhm.
getting 6 more kids next year than what I have right now. So that'll be a noticeable bump, but I am not, I'm sort of digging into my brain as how will that be a beneficial factor, a creative factor, and an energizing factor to do other things in the classroom, and not starting from the point of view of that's a burden that I'm getting more kids. There's nothing deficit about it. It's just a new challenge. So avoiding judgment and just thinking about boxes and crowded spaces and things that happen in a podcast. So, but I refuse to explain why I did that drawing.
Thanks for explaining that.
It
There was something
was
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, it's all good. It's all good.
There was something I was gonna say when you started into that, and now it's gone.
End of the school year, baby. End of the
Yeah,
school year.
it's gone. Oh,
For
well.
us, there's like technically, I guess 3 weeks left because the last week is an exam week. So everyone's a little bit where they're feeling the upward draft. Um, I'm trying just to maintain let's just do the work. It's just I'm going to be shifting into uh, a couple months where the I have more time for me, my time, the time that I have, it's more for me and my family. It's not going to be used up by my employer. So, um, yeah, that's it. End of the year, June. Welcome to June 1st.
Welcome to June. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Feeling very reflective today. I don't feel talkative at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah. No, I think that's good, man. Take it as it comes.
I wonder
You're
if
gonna
it will continue with my family today.
uh,
I don't have
uh,
much to say. I don't know about that.
just walk around the house. Don't talk to anyone. You need a
I think
T-shirt that says "I'm reflecting."
the reflectors. That could be
The
a new team.
reflectors. Yep.
Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your day, and
Thanks, bro.
looking forward already to episode 33, number 298. We'll see if that happens next week or not.
Well, maybe that was something that occurred to me. Like we are 3 episodes from the end of season 8. It's end of season 7. We'll edit that part out. We are
Yeah,
officially
right.
three episodes away from the end of season 7, and that in itself deserves an air high five. There we go, because 7 seasons, even if conservatively we say we're putting up 30 episodes a season, that's still over 200 episodes of, well, in this case, 297.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's very cool. And no sign of stopping.
Nope.
No need to, anyways. Tyler, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. It's good to re-meet you, bro.
And Gary, thanks for
And
jumping in.
Gary, not to forget Gary.
No, you can't forget Gary.
This was Decoded Light today. Decoded Light a little bit, I think. Decoded Light?
We'll go with that.
No. We're the Decoded Light at the end of June.
Um, this was season 7, episode 32, number 297. Peace.
Peace, folks.